This is a movie about scripting in Unity. You can see in this Unity program I already have several scripts that I've made. To create a new script, go to Create, C# Script. The Create drop-down is in the Project area. Once you do that, you'll get a new script that you can name. I name these a variety of things based on what I want to do with them here. Now let's open one of these scripts that I made. When you double-click a script in Unity, another program is opened up called MonoDevelop. MonoDevelop is an integrated development environment for C# scripts. You'll notice in this C# script there's already a lot of code that's been written. At the very top are all these lines that begin with using. All of those lines of code are there because Unity has imported several blocks of code into this program already that are available for your use. You don't even have to do anything. They're there for your use. The other thing you'll notice in this program is it starts with public class. Within C#, all coding is done within the context of a class. A class is basically a template for object creation. More on that later. If you took Java, you know all about classes. If you only took C++, you won't know as much about classes, but you'll learn. The next thing I want you to notice is the name of the class. That matches the name of the file back in Unity. In other words, if I go back to Unity, the name of the file is MyScript1, and we can see the name of the class is MyScript1. If those don't match, the program won't run. The next thing I want you to notice is this thing called start and this thing called update. These are methods. Methods are basically functions. They define blocks of code that's executed when the method or function, if you will, is called. Neither of these has any code in them, so they really won't do anything. So what's the difference between start and update? Start is run exactly one time when this script just starts to run. All the code in it is executed exactly once. Whereas update is called many times every second, and the code within it is executed many times per second. So, how do you make a comment in Unity? Comments are useful to help us know what's going on. Notice I highlighted a comment here. Comments always begin with a double /. Alright, let's go to another program I wrote, another script I wrote, and let's talk about a very common thing that you'll use called print. Print is a function that you can use anywhere in your program that allows you to print a message to the console. What's the console? If you go back to Unity, you have a project tab. Right next to it, you have a console tab. And I have a bunch of error messages based on errors I made earlier when I was writing these scripts. I'm going to clear those out. I guess I have so many it's not clearing out, so I won't worry about that right now. Let me go back to my script. Let's talk about some of the things I've done here. Notice I've declared a variable. It starts with an accessibility modifier, which is either private or public. Then it has a data type, this case int, and then a name, value. So it's an accessibility modifier, a data type, and then a name. There are two types of data in Unity. One is objects and one are primitives. You will probably use primitive data most often. And primitive data is things like ints, chars, floats, doubles, bools, and strings. You can look those up on page 128. Now, a little bit about accessibility modifiers. Private just means that that code is only known within this particular script. Public means that this code can be accessed by other scripts. In fact, if a variable is public, when I attach a script to an object, which I do by simply dragging up to an object and dropping it on there, now I've already done that for the cool cube, you'll notice that that object has a script component now that matches the name of the script. And any public variables will have a field that I can enter a value for. Pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit more about our variables here and this idea of scope. What is scope? Scope is where the variable is known within a program. To know the scope of the variable, go up to the nearest curly brace above it. So you look at value, the curly brace above it is up here. The curly brace that matches that is the very last curly brace. Therefore, value is known between those two curly braces. Now, that's where I declare the variable. Look at this variable. It's not declared up here. It's declared in this method called start. The nearest curly brace above it is right there. The nearest curly brace below it, or the curly brace that matches that curly brace, is below it, and it's down here. In other words, the char variable called the character is only known between those curly braces. So look for the curly braces and understand scope. Obviously, within C#, there are a variety of operators you can use. Plus, equals, plus, modulus operators, all kinds of good stuff. A couple of operators you need to be aware of, though, that often cause problems are the equals and the double equals. Remember, the equals is used for assignment. The double equals is to compare one value to another, and it returns either true or false. So don't get those confused. In C#, we have your typical conditional statements, if else. And notice in this if else, I have a double and. I could put a double or. Now I would do that like that. I'm going to go back to the double and. Remember, the double and means the statement is true if both statements are true. The double or is true if one or the other statements are true. We also have while statements, while loops. In C#, very similar to other languages. We have for loops. Again, very similar to other languages. All right? So C# you'll notice is a lot like other languages in many respects.